but I do want to be mindful of time and start recording here and start the show. Hi, everybody. Welcome to our pre-course live session with the instructors. Want to give a quick introduction of ourselves as well as our collaborators here. My name is Joe Levy, and I am the Executive Director of Assessment and Accreditation at National Louis University in Chicago, Illinois. But I also serve as one of the instructors for the open course and the open course manager. I will turn it over to Megan.
Good morning. Well, I suppose for most of you it's afternoon. I'm in California, so it's still the morning here. Welcome everyone. I'm Megan Bell. I'm one of the new instructors for the course this year, and my other job is working at Cal State Northridge, overseeing assessment for our Student Affairs Division. I've been a faculty member in the College of Education at my prior institution, and a member of the Student Affairs Assessment Leaders for a while, and I'm really excited to see you all.
Okay, likewise, good morning, everyone. I'm in Portland, Oregon, which is normally cloudy, but today nice and sunny. I am a little bit of a different component of this course. So I'm a faculty member, but my full-time job is as an efficacy evaluation manager for a K-12 focused assessment organization, which is more on the testing side and student learning side. I got into that because I was really interested in college access and higher education equity, and that led me into the K-12 space a little bit more. So that company is called NWEA, and if you have kids, that's the MAP growth is the normal assessment that we give. So I was a research scientist for them, but started my career in student affairs and worked a lot with various institutions across the country. Went to grad school at Joe, which was always fun. So I saw his brilliance early on, is what I like to say.
Thanks, Greg. And I saw Suzanne, you introduced yourself in the chat, but do you want to give a quick hello?
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Suzanne Carbonero. I'm helping to support as a collaborator of the open online course by sharing our communities of practice, which is AEFIS Academy. I currently work as the Director of Academic Partnerships at Helio Campus, and AEFIS Academy as part of Helio Campus now. And so we're thrilled to be here and looking forward to a great presentation today and supporting you all as members of the new and improved open online course for 2022. So Joe, I turn it back to you. Thanks.
And last, but I have to, Tahia, do you want to say hello?
Yes, thank you. Hello, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here today and to be supporting this awesome session and sneak peek of the 2022 SAIL online open course. My name is Tahia, and I also work with Suzanne at AEFIS. I'll be helping to provide support for all of you from the AEFIS Academy end. So excited to talk about how we're going to be bringing that in.
Awesome. Well, the session isn't just about us. So I wanted to get a quick read of who's in the room. So I'm launching a quick poll. That should be popping up on your screen. And just want to know which best describes your role. And I'm sorry, it's a single choice. So if you wear multiple hats, maybe pick the one you spend your most time in, or you can also pick other and just write in the chat what your role might be. Ooh, sorry, Lisa. If the poll, yeah, I guess if here, you can always chat in what your role is. Despite being assessment people, we won't necessarily be using this data for decision-making purposes, mostly just to know who our audience members are.
This is Dr. Bruno. Hey. No, I'm back this week.
Ooh.
Yeah, just watch. You're not muted when you come in. So if you could mute yourself and use the chat, unless, there'll be an opportunity for them to unmute down the road, Joe.
Yeah, absolutely. But by just to start off, you might want to yourselves. Okay. Well, we have a good amount of folks who've responded. And it looks like the majority of folks are assessment professionals, but coming in close second are administrators and staff members. I'm also super excited to see some graduate students in here. We're always happy to get folks, and I've heard great things of this course being a solid complement to what folks are doing in their graduate programs. So thank you all for sharing. Feel free to keep sharing in the chat, but I want to move us along. So today we're going to cover these things. We're going to give an overview of the course. We'll go module by module to give you a highlight and feel for what the course experience will be like. Cover just a little bit of course data and then give some feedback from us as instructors of what we're really excited about for this year, and do then some wrap up and Q&A with folks. So, and feel free to use the chat to ask questions along the way, or we'll be happy to pause and try and field those as we go. Otherwise, we want to try and get through the content and leave time for questions from you all. But I'm talking about the course history because I helped birth the course. Back in 2015, the Student Affairs Assessment Leaders, we recognized a need for further professional development and resources for people doing student affairs assessment and assessment in general. And so we put together PDFs that were on main topics and aspects of assessment work, as well as some sticking points to the work and some resources and references. And then we had the good fortune of partnering with Colorado State University, who already had some MOOCs running and helped us transform our PDFs into a live course. So our first course launch was in the spring of 2017. We ran it every winter and spring since then, once a year. And in 2020, kind of one of the most recent advancements to the course is National Louis University, for their higher education leadership program, their educational doctorate. They give students PLA credits. If you complete the course and get the course badge and enter that program, you get free course credit, free elective credit in that program. And we're in talks with other institutions to try and set that up. Although surprisingly and a little disappointedly, I'm finding that PLA in that sense of non-certificates and real formal organization established aspects, a lot of institutions aren't doing that, which again is surprising to me and a little disappointing, especially for adult learners who have experience and knowledge that they could be getting credit for. Happy to talk about PLA, that's under my umbrella. It's been work I've been doing in my career, but I will move on. So actually we've done 5 courses. This spring is going to be our 6th course, which we're super excited about. The course itself is 8 self-paced modules made up of discussion boards, quizzes. 2 of the modules have written assignments, and all the modules have video lectures, as well as we've been fortunate to get some personal take videos from former students who just reached out to say what they really appreciated about the course. And I said, I love this feedback. Would you be willing to share this with the world? And so we've had the good fortune of folks recording those videos and gotten their permission to post them within the course, which is great because then you hear about the course content not only from the instructor perspective, but also from some other folks taking the course. And it's important to recognize too that while the voice you will hear and the faces you will see are the instructors here, that again, and you can even see on our website with our course contributor information, we've had dozens of people from many institutions contribute to the content of this course. So we are just the vessels of communicating the knowledge and information. And we have both required readings, as well as we try and keep it somewhat of a survey course so that we're covering a lot of topics, but if any of the topics really pique your interest and you want to dive deeper beyond the information that we present, every module has a further learning section where you can access readings and resources to dig deeper into that topic. And then we also have live sessions like this, as well as some small group discussion boards that folks can engage in. And just a quick note on the self-paced feature. So the course is completely self-paced so that when you get access on February 7th, you can jump right to the last module if you want. And we have some people who finish in the first week. But just as a note, the instructors, we move 1 week at a time. So if you are somebody who races through the course, just know that you might not be getting the most responses or engagement in the discussion board because other people might not be keeping up with you. Likewise, if you join the course late, you might not be getting the most responses on the earlier discussion boards as you're trying to catch up. But one of the things we love about the course is making it self-paced, as well as ensuring access to the resource so that even if the time frame of the course, February 7th through April 3rd, doesn't work for you to engage, if you want these resources and this information, we encourage you to sign up because it's free and you'll retain access to the course well after it's over. This just lists our modules, but we're going to dive into those individually. So I will move past this because we'll cover it. As I said, the course runs February 7th through April 3rd. Enrollment is open, and it's open through almost the last week of the course, because again, we want this to be a great resource for people and want to make sure they can sign up as late as possible. You only can earn the badge to the course, though, if you complete all the requisites by April 3rd. However, again, if you just want the resources or the information, you'll have course access well beyond the course end date. So if timing doesn't work out, but you still want the information, I encourage you to sign up. Now, to earn the badge, you need to get a 75% or better on each of the quizzes in each of the modules. And for the quizzes, you get 3 attempts, and we take your best quiz score. And then you also need to earn a 75% or better on each of the written assignments. And there's 2 written assignments. There's only 1 single attempt. You don't get multiple attempts. However, we do provide a handful of case study examples that mirror the assignment and gives a lot of detail and information and context so that hopefully that's good preparatory information for you, as well as we provide rubrics for the actual assignments so you can see what aspects we're looking for and what scores could look like. Okay, I will stop talking now and turn it over to Greg to talk about the first module.
Let me unmute myself before I start talking. Our first module is really about the foundations of effective assessment. So what we'll do is we'll talk about what the differences are between assessment, evaluation, and research. They have different functions in maybe our day-to-day jobs, but they have different kind of practices and modals, if you will, as well, that we can go into. We're going to identify some key questions to answer through assessment, identify considerations with assessment methods that best inform practice. So we'll have a lot of resources there about what it means to do, kind of assessment that can help inform decisions, that can help make data-informed decisions, if you will. We'll also identify the importance of stakeholders in the assessment process, that if we if a tree falls in the woods, does it make a sound idea? If we do assessment and no one hears it or listens to it or is able to process it, what does that mean? So we want to make sure that we are identifying right away the importance of stakeholders. And then identifying the elements of assessment culture within student affairs so that we can not just build assessments that go nowhere, but actually build cultures that use assessments to empower students to better our institutions and to better student affairs and students' experiences. So that's module 2. And I think I am turning it over to Megan for module 2.
Thanks, Greg. So module 2 is focused on assessment planning. And I really wanted to take and oversee this module because I think that it provides a very clear roadmap for folks who are just thinking, maybe I don't even know where to start. I took this course the first time it was offered when I had just started to be asked to coordinate some formal assessment for our division. And it felt kind of overwhelming. And module 2 really spoke to me because it gave 11 clear steps for strong and effective assessment planning. So if you are someone that kind of likes structure or a plan, this is a really good module because it's, very clearly outlines the 11 steps that you should go through to be effective in your assessment planning, and gives you some information, some additional information on assessment methods. And really, I am a planner, I always have been. And so, this is saying that in order for us to be effective, we need to kind of start with that end in mind, know where we're wanting to head, what the outcomes are, what the purpose, and what we're going to do with our findings, and then how to share it out. So I hope that this will provide a great kind of foundation for the rest of the modules.
Thanks, Megan. I lead module 3 on coaching and consulting, and this is a concept that is a little, well, one, it's part of the purpose of the course, but it's not the typical type of content that you'll usually see in assessment literature or how-to information. But because we're providing this course intended to wide audiences, but primarily to folks who are leading assessment work for many people, we wanted to make sure and touch on what coaching and consulting could look like. So as you're working, whether it's with peers or other areas, how to differentiate learning outcomes from program outcomes or program objectives, how to determine if a learning outcome statement is appropriate, is it measurable, is it meaningful, as well as how to help people even put together a plan or to make sure plans are appropriate, and what work you might be, what expectations may be placed upon you, or what you should perhaps set your sights on in leading the work, because a lot of times folks are promoted into these positions or voluntold to lead assessment efforts for a division of student affairs or for a group. And so we wanted to make sure to give you some resources and perspectives and considerations of what to look for, what to build towards, and how you can best be coaching for activity. Back to Greg.
So module 4 is, it's my screen. So module 4 is about aligning assessment with institutional priorities. And this is my goal here is to really think about this from a systems approach, where we think about what are the purposes for assessing and how do those align with what our institution's mission is or with what our institution's goals are. And so what we want to do is understand the importance of aligning those processes so that we can actually make change and we can actually bring some of the things to bear that we learn into assessment into the institution and into the processes that we have in an institution level. So part of that is identifying and developing mission and vision statements for our programs for the purpose of assessment or for individual programs that we run, that we can assess, that we can show that those mission and visions are being fulfilled at the institution level and in our departments. Identifying key performance indicators, which we kind of still see throughout this, that we have different overlapping of different terminologies and different ways of thinking about things. So module 1 and module 4, you'll see some overlap there in terms of what we talk about in terms of KPIs. And then considering the role of data visualizations in reporting outcomes. So how do we actually get people to believe, to buy in, to hold our data in regard and to really think about what our assessment are and the purposes of those and how they impact the institution. So I'm really excited about talking through module 4. There's a lot to unpack in this, and so I will I'll try to condense it down to 1 week of material, not go overboard.
Thanks, Greg. So it's back to me in module 5, and this section is about critical approaches to assessment. Critical in the sense of examining our mindsets, our mental models, how we approach the work, how our identities can inform the lenses in which we are moving throughout the world, but also the way we're interacting with assessment, and how considerations in assessment work when employed appropriately, can actually work towards advancing equity, not only in the work, but also in for educational success of students. So this is an interesting module in that we focus on that content. One of the things we've gotten feedback on in the past and that we touch on in this content is that you can have a critical approach. You can be using assessment for equity at every point along the way in the assessment cycle. And as instructors, it's one of the things we've touched on, we do touch on in all the modules, but this one is all about that. And while overall we aim for each module, an engagement with each module to be approximately an hour, we've heard from people that they want more time in this section or more information. So we do have tons of resources in the further learning for this section. And all of us are happy to engage beyond the course to keep talking about this. And this in general has been a hot topic for the past couple of years. So it's usually something people really enjoy digging into. And I know you will too.
So the next slide, this is my bread and butter. This is what I love, is using data to make informed decisions, not just quantitative data. So we're going to talk about the importance of closing the loop, but importance of quantitative and qualitative data. We'll talk about what those mean. We have lots of resources that we've added to the session, including ways to use Excel to do some simple statistical analyses so that you can kind of run through some of your data in Excel. You don't have to always put it into or learn a new statistical software. A lot of what we'll be doing is more descriptive statistics. We can talk about what that means too in that session. And it's about figuring out ways to use internal and external data to close the loop, to go back to that number one, to close the loop. Figuring out ways to identify external data sources if those are needed or benchmarks. And then defining terms and identifying multiple strategies. Not all of our data needs to be as survey data or questions that we ask students directly. We can get at an amazing array of data that are all around us and use those to help with our assessment processes, and then report those data out in ways that are meaningful. So I'm really excited about doing this. As you can see, I'm really passionate about data use and how we can make the world and our areas of expertise and our little pocket of the world better using data for good.
Okay, I am also the lead instructor for Module 7, which is focused on building or fostering a culture of assessment, or sometimes people prefer to use culture of evidence. You might hear that as well. This is really about what are the strategies that we all can use, even if you're not responsible directly for formal assessment, but you just want to have that be a stronger focus of your professional skill set. What can we do in our departments, our divisions, and on our campuses to enhance that culture so that everyone is thinking with this mindset of being data informed in our decision making and strengthening that assessment work, really for a culture of improvement. That's what we're about with assessment. We want to understand what we're doing and how it impacts usually students, but sometimes other stakeholders, and how we can improve that spirit of ongoing learning. So we're going to use a model for different dimensions of culture, and then talk about strategies within each dimension for how to work on that culture. The other part of this module is that we ask folks to consider interviewing someone who has responsibility for assessment. It doesn't have to be on your campus, but it could be, and to reflect on and ask that person, how do they see the culture of assessment on their campus and what have they done to work on that? So that's kind of a fun part of this module as well, is the opportunity to connect with and learn from another professional. And then finally, I'm going to cover the final module, which is Module 8. And this is really bringing everything all together We're going to talk about how all of these separate concepts from the prior modules connect when we're thinking about assessment, and then have you start to think about how to further your learning, build on what the concepts that we discuss in the course, and think about how to continue that learning into the future. And again, as Joe said previously, you'll have access to all of the resources if you sign up. No matter, how much you complete with the formal assignments, you'll still have all of those, resources to go back to in the future. So that's the course. I think running through that might seem a little overwhelming in terms of a lot of content, but it's very manageable. It's very practical. I would say, I've had some questions around, is this going to be super advanced? And we've chunked it into really manageable pieces and made it really applicable and practical to being a professional in higher ed. I would also say that in my last comment is, we situate the course in the context of a student affairs environment, but really these are assessment concepts that are good for any organization. They're really for any part of higher education, even organizations outside of higher education. So the case studies and discussions and things really are pretty much focused on student affairs, but really what we're teaching can apply to any context. So if you're not, in a student affairs division, or you're wondering if this would still work for you, I think there's still a lot to be gained no matter where you're situated.
Thanks, Megan. I just put in the chat too that historically the majority of our people who take the course self-describe themselves as having a beginner or intermediate understanding of assessment. So beginners welcome and intermediate welcome. And then for folks who are more, we also get a lot of folks who are more advanced and experienced in the course in assessment, who just love the course then as a great refresh, a good reset, or this great opportunity then to, in a structured environment, lead their team through assessment professional development. Why do all this work on your own when you can just get your division to sign up for this course and lead them through it, and then you can be picking up any tips along the way. And speaking of data, as I started talking about a little bit, I wanted to share just a little pieces of data, and I'll save that. I see your question, Lisa. I'll save that for Greg to answer in just a moment. So our course has been, we've had really high completion rates, which always boggles my mind, because as I've said multiple times already in this session, as well as in all my promotions for the course, we want the course to be a resource. And so I actively encourage people to sign up, even if they don't think they can complete the course. But even with that being our party line, we still get really high rates of completion for a MOOC, which typically MOOCs have single-digit completion rates. So for us to have as high as we did, it's pretty awesome, and we're pretty proud of that. It's also, we've gotten very positive feedback from folks. And while the data I'm showing here is reflective of just this past year, historically, and you can look back on our website of past data that we've posted, these trends have held up of, over 90% of students saying the materials have a positive impact, over 85% of people saying that the course activities had a positive impact, and we consistently get high ratings of, giving us a 4 or 5 out of 5 in terms of quality of the course, which again, makes us feel really good about the work that we're putting out there, and that it's meeting people's needs for this work. I will also just quickly share some of the data around the quizzes and the assignments, just to give you an idea of that. And please, please note the scale on the left side here. Historically, the quizzes, people knock them out of the park. We design the quizzes, they're low stakes, and you get 3 attempts for them. It's open book. There's no time limit. And all the information is covered either in our short videos or in the required readings, which is why students do so well on the quizzes. And year after year, we've had high scores here And so we expect the same. So don't feel pressure around the quizzes. And I would also say with the assignments, those were new this past year. And we saw with those that for module 3, both mead and mode score were 28 out of 30, which is a 93%. And for module 5, it was 23 out of 25, which is a 92%. And we actually used that information as well as feedback from students from the course last year to determine then the cut score of earning the badge of being 75%. One, it seemed reasonable with these assignments as given past activity of students, as well as it aligns with then the cut score we use for the quizzes. And so just some insight there on the data. And we do score all of those with rubrics, each individual assignment, which is one of the reasons why we don't allow multiple submissions for the assignments, because it's already scoring hundreds and hundreds of submissions because our course attracts over 1,000 people each year. Ooh, sorry. I'm a little scroll happy there.
I think this is my part, right, Joe?
Yeah, I just wanted to check the chat. Looks like Greg answered Lisa's piece. Cool. Okay. Megan.
Right. So we wanted to just share a little bit more about some of the work that the three of us have engaged in, gosh, I think since last May. New things that we've revised and added to the course. So here's your Saved by the Bell meme. I don't know if anyone's watched the reboot of that. I was really opposed to it, but it's actually kind of cute. We've been watching it with my teenage daughter and I've enjoyed it if you haven't checked it out yet. But so the three of us came together and, as Joe mentioned, looked at the feedback from the prior course and really tried to use that to enhance this year's version. I'll say again, I took the course when it was first offered, and Joe and the prior instructors have really added a lot to the course since I took it. So we really try to model that continuous improvement that I was talking about. We've added updated readings and resources for folks, and tried to really be mindful of how the course is organized in Canvas. So those of you that have used Canvas before, we try to be thoughtful about how we've laid everything out, make sure it's intuitive since it's self-paced. As you work through the modules, hopefully you'll find them easy to navigate. We've tried to kind of put new and pay attention to the trends that are happening, and as things have evolved in the field of assessment, and tried to add that and add our own experiences. Greg shared his kind of different path to get where he's at, and we tried to bring that to infuse it. The best thing I think that's been added are those personal take videos, because it really shows real life higher ed folks who are kind of in the trenches doing the work, talk about how they've applied the content and what they learned from it. So if you're sick of the three of us, you can get some different take on how the course has helped people on their campuses. And then lastly, we're going to talk about this in a little bit, but we've, with our partnership with AEFIS Academy, been able to add some additional enhancements to the course to continue the learning. I think someone's on mute. But to continue the learning, because that wasn't funny what I just said. So prior or after the course completes, we want folks to still be able to engage and have a network and a community of resources to reach out to. I've found this field of professionals to be very collaborative, very open to sharing, connecting with folks at conferences and through the associations has really been my saving kind of grace as I try to work through different initiatives on my campuses. So we wanted to, as much as possible in a virtual space, provide that level of connection. And I think AEFIS Academy is a great addition this year.
All right.
We can move forward.
Yep.
Great. I think I've touched on all of these things. but this is really these are really, I think, our high level goals. And, you know, I think whatever level you're at, the course is really useful. You know, I'm working in this field full time now. I shifted to that this year. And as we've been preparing the content, have really found it useful for the world that I'm in right now. You know, kind of going back to, oh my gosh, I haven't thought about that in a while. I need to, you know, think more deeply about this aspect of assessment, or, you know, look at this resource for this module to help the folks that I'm working with on my new campus. So I think that it's very useful, very practical, no matter kind of where you're situated and what level you're at. And then the last thing to say here is, you know, really, this is a resource. It's really professional development. As Joe said, the goal of this group is not to make sure, you know, we have this high completion rate. That's great, but really it's to provide professional development to anyone who wants it. The best part of taking this course for me is a number of other folks on my campus at the time took it at the same time. And we did a really informal study group where, as we were completing the course, every 2 weeks we got together and talked about it and reflected on how we might apply what we were learning to our own campus. So that's a suggestion. If you have even one other person on your campus or that you know that you can connect with, it really enhanced my learning the first time that I took it. So please share it out. There's still plenty of time to sign up to others on your campus or to colleagues on other campuses that you know. And again, it doesn't have to just be student affairs folks. More and more, I think those of us doing assessment work are partnered up with folks in academic affairs or institutional research. And I think having that shared common language is really helpful because we all have the same goal, right? We all want to improve things for students, and we know learning happens inside the classroom, it happens outside of the classroom, and the more we can engage with others in the university setting, the stronger our work will be. So please share.
Right. And so with that, we've alluded to them. They've introduced themselves. I want to turn things over to Suzanne to talk about our exciting partnership with AEFIS.
Thank you so much, Joe. And you know, we all felt the pain of the pandemic. It definitely slowed us down, like the image that you have up here, and it certainly stopped us in our tracks. And as a community, we wanted to support the lifelong learning of leaders in higher education. So in spring 2021, AEFIS, which is an assessment management platform, and SAL partnered to begin to scope out a process for that ongoing support of student affairs and assessment leaders, and hope that they would gain even more from their participation in the open online course that Joe and team here have talked so much about. You know, it's about, you know, really taking the learning and applying it to your own institution, to your own stakeholders, and your own culture of improvement. Megan, I appreciate exclamation point on that, as opposed to just a culture of assessment. We're looking to use the data to make improvement. And so there are a lot of opportunities for you to actually join AEFIS Academy and provide your own kind of stamp on the community, and actually share with one another, both at events like you're seeing in front of you today, but also engage in blogs. I threw a couple blogs in there, engage in connections with others. Because I mean, and honestly, that's why AEFIS Academy was born, was to ensure that despite the pandemic, despite things closing down in early 2020, AEFIS Academy was able to come together because higher education leaders craved connection. And so spring of 2020, we officially launched the Communities of Practice site through this virtual community. We're nearing 2,000 members, and we're inspired every day by the members that have joined, and they're learning and they're teaching and they're innovating with one another. AEFIS Academy, as an extension of learning to the SAL open online course, will enable us to integrate a standing group space for communication and networking. So when you become part of the course, we'll be sharing out some great details in joining the group, where you can have additional conversation about other subjects that maybe problems of practice that sort of are triggered by the module content. So that will be beyond the course. You'll be able to pair course topic related resources with what's going on in the course. So blogs, as you've seen here, the group discussion, as I mentioned, and webinars. And you'll be able to centralize and promote engagement year round. So you don't have to wait every year to February to join the course again. You actually, with your course alum, can actually have conversations throughout the year on AEFIS Academy through discussions, through events like this. You might want to step up and organize a panel discussion on student affairs assessment, or jump in and write a blog, or as I said, start to do maybe some research on these areas as well. We're also going to be doing these special events aligned with some of the modules for that additional deep dive, and to engage other assessment professionals and student affairs practitioners across the country who might be able to provide insight from their lens and their practice. For instance, I know Greg will be leading a deeper dive into Module 4, for instance, aligning assessment and institutional priorities during that first week of March. So that will be an extension to the course content, and you'll get more information on that as we come to closer to that date. I also wanted to mention that if you want to get a feel for what a webinar is like, I mean, today's is a great example, but we also have a webinar this Thursday, January 27th, 2 p.m. Eastern, with practitioners from the University of Kentucky, Lincoln Land Community College, and a senior data analyst from Helio Campus. And Helio Campus and AEFIS are one company now. So we have the beauty of having such amazing subject expertise, and our senior data analyst is out in the field supporting our institutional stakeholders in their use of assessment for improvement. If you haven't joined AEFIS Academy yet, it's not too late. I highly encourage you to do so. I see the team here has put in the link to aefisacademy.org, and then the community events, as well as the event that I'm mentioning for this upcoming week. I'm going to try and do two things at once, which is never good, which you can register for here. And these are all free events for your pleasure and for your professional development. And we see much like what y'all described is like, somebody was looking for more Temple people on here on this call, or you might be looking to join the course with multiple stakeholders from your institution, or your maybe your guiding coalition at your institution. We see that here as well. We see that these webinars serve as professional learning experiences, and folks have told us that they get together afterwards and talk about this, or think about how they might want to implement one or two of the items that they had seen in practice by their own peers at the Academy. The other thing I know Joe's going to talk about is, besides events and besides blogs and contributing and joining these events, you also will be able to access the resources on your Student Affairs Assessment Leaders Hub. And here there are, all of the events will be archived, as well as additional resources. I see that we put the link there. Joe, do you want to talk a little bit about what that SAL Hub is?
Yeah, so, Suzanne's hit on a lot of the awesome reasons why we're excited about this partnership, largely because the course, which is free and while people will have access to it, we only engage and maintain with it during its runtime. So we're really excited that AEFIS Academy can extend engagement and connection between folks well outside the bounds of the course. But what we're also excited about and to support this engagement is that we've worked with AEFIS Academy to create this hub where we are centralizing all related events, blogs, recordings. We even have a specialized section where we pulled out some of our favorite resources from the course, as well as some additional just staple assessment related resources. And so we have these curated resources that you can peruse and check out and always have available to you within the hub. And we'll continue to add things to this. And as AEFIS Academy members, you can do your own blogs. And as Suzanne mentioned, as other events come up, if they're related, we can be centralizing and putting them all here in this hub so that anyone associated with the course or interested in the course content can just go here and find all related information.
Yeah, Joe, thank you. And, folks are thinking about a blog, but they're not sure how to put it together, or they want some support. We provide that as well. You'll be able to reach out to Joe or anybody here, and we'll help you with that. We'll also, if you have a great idea for a panel discussion, or, you want to participate in the group and all of those different items, you have the ability to do that because it's all accessible to you 24/7. And we're here to help guide you as you continue to grow as a professional. I guess it's never, I like that what you said, I had put in the chat, are there any prerequisites? Anybody can step in at any time to AEFIS Academy. We have folks who are just starting in assessment, folks that are faculty members, graduate students, as you pointed out before, Joe, that are joining AEFIS Academy and just jumping in and soaking in the learning. So this is all at your fingertips, and feel free to utilize the resources in your own organized professional learning. But we also know that a lot of those budgets and resources have gone very slim. And so AEFIS Academy and SAL's resources and course hopefully will supplement that area for you at your campus.
All right, I'm gonna turn over to Greg here to bring us home.
If I could unmute myself. Yeah, so hopefully this gives you a really great overview about what we're, I think we went past for the wrap up, but hopefully this gives you a great overview for what we're planning to cover for this course. We are responsive too, so please put in questions in the chat and let us know if you need help finding something. We're able to respond to those questions, and once the course opens, you'll be able to message us in different parts of Canvas to really to get your questions answered there as well. So we're really excited about this course. We're excited about the changes and additions to the course, and also our partnerships. So we want to thank, now you can go ahead. We want to thank both SAL and AEFIS for allowing us to do this course, to put this course on. I think I think Megan and I are both very thankful to Joe as well for his leadership and kind of organizing us and getting us pointed toward the right direction, and Suzanne for her support, and Tia for their support in really making this happen this year. And so we're excited about it. We hope you're excited about it. We look forward to seeing you in the courses, and look forward to really kind of engaging with you as we go through this process for the next few months. Did I miss anything, Joe?
No, just going to bring up then some resources and information here. We have Sal's website. Sal's website has a specific link, just for the open course, which has then sub pages about that. We also put in the link here for AEFIS Academy. The link specifically to the hub, and here's course sign up information. Just reiterating that, February 7th to the 23rd. You can register up until March 25th. We already have over 500 people signed up for the course. Again, every year we've attracted over 1,000 people to the course. We're expecting to hit that mark again. And that's it from us. So we got a solid 10 minutes here to field any questions that folks have. I want to put up our contact information so that you have that.
We are prompt. That is one thing. We right on time.
I would just add, while we're waiting to see if anyone thinks of any questions, you know, as folks learned, I was teaching this year. I've had some people express some hesitation or nervousness about, well, I haven't been in school in a while, and I don't, you know, is this going to be, you know, what is the experience going to be like? And it is a course in the way that it's structured, but it really is professional development as I see it. The quizzes and assignments are practical. They apply to our work, and, you know, it's not, there's some time investment for it, but it's not, I don't think, going to be overwhelming, like you're going back to graduate school. And if that, you know, you're not gonna be writing research papers and that sort of thing. So I just, you know, it is meaningful content, but I think it's very manageable. And even if you haven't been in school formally for a while, it's really a professional development experience to enhance all of our skills and competency in assessment work.
Yeah, and I'll underscore that because each year I get some humbling, distressed emails from people who say, you know, I'm so sorry, I signed up for this course. I really don't think I'll be able to complete it. You know, accept my apologies, or, you know, this is so unprofessional. Or some even say, please remove me from the course, to which I always respond, no, like, this is a resource. I don't want to take you out of this resource. We're not like reporting who doesn't complete or anything. So, you know, please, to Megan's point, this is a resource, and it definitely will not be at a rigor of, and, you know, a full academic course. You know, actually, again, going back to the NLU piece, with the PLA piece, you know, we determined that the equivalency of credit hour is approximately 1 semester hour, which most graduate programs are 3 semester hour courses or 4. So you can imagine this is not, and that's if you complete everything, which again, this is a resource. And to more advanced or even intermediate experience assessment folks, because it's a resource, we know some people just sign up and just dive into one module, or sign up because they just want to see the latest resources on a particular topic, or they've taken the course before and they're eager to see what, you know, what new things Megan and Greg have added to it, so they sign up. That's totally fine because it's a resource. So don't feel pressure like this is some big commitment. That said, it is pretty cool when people earn the badge and share it, and to know, you know, that we have, you know, thousands of people out there that have taken this course. But yes, please don't be intimidated or stressed about this course. It's a resource.
Yeah, and I would to add and bring that home, we're also resources, and you're resources to each other. So that's part of the MOOC, and the beauty of this is that we bring our perspectives, but you bring your perspective to this course as well, and to the community of assessment practitioners across the country. So this is a way for you to learn from each other as well. If you're a seasoned professional, as Joe mentioned, this is a chance for you to also learn and give back. And it's a chance for us to learn from you as well, and you to learn from us. So there's a lot of give and take in this. And so it's a lot of reciprocity, to fully say that word in a recorded session. I'm thankful I got it. But it's really about us learning with each other and from each other, and building a community that values assessment and that culture of improvement internally, both for us, but also externally for our larger communities.
Yeah, and one thing I would say too with the course is that the content in the course is, going back to what I said before, it's based on a community approach of, we've had so many people who've given us great feedback and thought leadership and resources that we've that we cite and that we promote within the course. So therefore, we are very genuine and very sincere in inviting any and all feedback about the course. I know the course has an end of course survey, as well as the final discussion board, calls for some reflection from participants. But beyond that, we're happy for any thoughts and feedback about the course, especially when people are using the course as a professional development experience for a group. We have a whole resource tips and tricks document that's been crowdsourced by previous people who have done that. And so we welcome feedback from folks to add to the resources, to add to the experience, and to just further enhance it and make it better for all going forward. I'll shut this down and maybe try and see some
We
faces.
made it. Joe, you stopped sharing and now I don't know where to look.
Straight ahead, just like your iPhone when you do a selfie.
You do a lot of selfies, Greg?
My daughter does now. She has learned to take the phone and selfie herself. But she hasn't quite figured out camera placement, so I just get a lot of photos of the top of her head.
Well, I know some folks are starting to hop off here, but we'll hang on for the final few minutes for any lingering questions. Otherwise, thank you all so much. And if you haven't already, sign up for the course, and we look forward to seeing you all there.